fear of missing out. Just a little bit of backstory. I moved here in the United States when I was 19, turning 20, and right now I'm 32. So that's a while back. And I have already felt FOMO at that age, not knowing the word yet, because I think the word FOMO only came recently. Maybe it didn't pass, but I think it wasn't as popular. I'm just saying that because I really didn't hear of the word FOMO until I was probably like 25 or 23. So way before that, I have already felt FOMO. And I want to look into the cause of FOMO and how to overcome it. So first, let's look at the cause. I also have my notes again. So I have identified that FOMO roots from false identification, meaning a false identification of what can make us happy, because I think we pursue the things we pursue and we have the fear of missing out on those things, thinking that those things actually somehow bring us happiness or like eternal joy. And these things that I know I have identified falsely are like career, money, parties, like a group of friends or people, clout, job opportunities, the new car, the new house. Then it was the new phone. Right now I think sometimes it's still the new phone because my phone's broken, so maybe the new phone. Oh, this is interesting. New information, status in society, status amongst our friends and family, and so many other things. And we chase these things and we fear missing out on these things, thinking that these situations, these events, these things would bring us joy and happiness in our life. And I've said it in the beginning, it's false identification. So this is the reason why we have fear of missing out, because there's only one of us, there's only one of this person, there's only one of me. And there are so many things, so many events, so many situations we think that will bring us eternal joy and happiness. And we can't keep up with these things. Like, honestly, we cannot. But I think that's the cause of FOMO, which is false identification. So now let's look into how to overcome FOMO. So I've thought about it. A way to overcome FOMO, I think, is to get rid of false identification in a way where we shift our identification into something that's more stable than these false things. So when I say shifting identification, I think it's just a process. It's a before the elimination of identification itself. Because if there's false identification, then there must be some true identification, or like the right sort of things we identify to, until we realize it's not necessary anymore, until we eliminate it. So I think we need to consciously reason out, like honestly and consciously, what are the things that somehow bring joy and happiness into our lives. So shifting from, the money, career, house, clout, the parties, our status in society, into more profound things. I think about the song. How does the song go? I forget. When the bug bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad. That song. I go to that song because it identifies simple things in our lives that somehow bring about momentary joy and happiness. And I think it's better than what I've identified as the false sense of source of happiness, which is, the parties, money, career, or achievements in life, because these simple things are easier to attain. And I think the constant suffering or disappointment is because the things that we aspire to is first difficult And I think too much. Too much in a sense, it's not necessary. There's only really a few things that we need to survive in this life. And getting those extra things just to be like what? One up against the person right next to you or your high school classmate or your neighbor is not necessary. We're struggling to somehow be above somebody we don't even necessarily have a deep connection with. And I don't necessarily think that's the meaning of life. So I think first the shift in identification to like a better things we can identify to, the simple things in life. And once we start to enjoy the simpler things in life, I think there's another shift into no identification at all. But I also somehow thought about identifying with seeking for truth. Like if I identify myself as a seeker, that will eventually be eliminated because seeking is not something we identify with or I identify with. Because seeking is just something we do. I don't think we get anywhere by identifying like, hey, I'm a seeker. What does that even do? Identifying with seeking doesn't move or push you forward. It's just another sense of entanglement. But if we genuinely seek, then we tend to move, and we discover truths until hopefully we lead to the ultimate truth. So yes, I really think first we need to identify the cause of our FOMO, which is false identification of the things that we think make us happy but don't, and then shift our identification into the small and the great simple wonders in life, like the sky, the flower, your kid's smile, and enjoy those moments. And when we go past that, knowing that in itself is not it, then we continue to seek. And once we continue to seek, then the need to identify with something or someone or with anything at all will be eliminated. Sadhguru had this video of a vegetable vendor where he met in the marketplace, and I'll put the link in the description below so guys can actually listen to it, because I thought that was also a turning point in my life. You know, Sadhguru talks about looking at this vegetable vendor, and the vegetable vendor also saw Sadhguru, and their eyes locked. And then the vendor started laughing, and then Sadhguru started laughing too, and then, they sat and talked. But the story of the vendor was he was in a hospital for 3-4 months, thinking he would die every day. And he's like a normal family man with 2 or 3 kids, with a wife, and the wife constantly visits him every night until she finally had enough and maybe left. So he basically thought he was dying every day. His family slowly went away. Probably the things in his life slowly went away in the anticipation of death. But he did not die, he recovered. But something died. It's his identification to anything at all. The identity that he carried around him, the source of all the entanglement in life, has died. But the life in him continues living in this world as well. So he's in that state where he's just living, selling vegetables, because it's the thing he knows how to do. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we just go around selling vegetables? Not literally selling vegetables, but just doing the things that is necessary in this life, and just live. And just be in this constant state of living. I hope one day we'll realize the value, the essence, the experience of being that vegetable man. The vegetable man. The vegetable vendor in the market. Let us all see the value in simple and simply living.